Your life as a medieval executioner. You're 14 years old, standing in the backyard of your family's house in a small German town, year 1560. Your father hands you a sword, not for protection, not for war. He points to a stray dog tied to a post and tells you to kill it in one clean strike. This is your test. Welcome to the family business. Your father is the town executioner. So was his father. And now, whether you want it or not, so are you. You don't get to choose this life. You're born into it. Nobody else will marry into it. Nobody else will train for it. The job passes down through blood, like a curse wrapped in a job title. You practice on dogs first, then pumpkins, lined up like necks on a fence. Your father watches in silence, correcting your grip, your stance, the angle of the blade. One clean strike means mercy. A clumsy one means a riot. You're learning your first lesson. Precision isn't pride. It's survival. Years pass. At 19, you take your father's place at your first real execution. A thief, convicted of stealing grain during a famine. The town square is packed. Children sit on their father's shoulders for a better view. You put on the hood, not to hide your identity. Everyone already knows who you are. You wear it because tradition says the act should be faceless. Justice without a face. Or maybe it's just easier to swing a sword when you can't see anyone looking back. The crowd doesn't see a person stepping forward. They see a function, a blade, a consequence. You raise the sword. One strike. It's clean. The crowd cheers like they just watched a show. To them, that's exactly what it was. You're learning your second lesson. Public executions aren't justice. They're entertainment with a body count. You walk home that night through streets that empty the moment people recognize your coat. Shopkeepers turn away. Mothers pull their children closer. Nobody spits on you. Nobody insults you. They just look through you, like you're already a ghost. This is your new normal. You live on the edge of town, in a house nobody visits. Tax collectors avoid your door. Priests avoid your pew. Even the grave diggers, the lowest of the low, won't sit at your table. You're paid well, better than most laborers in town. Executioners earn fixed wages, fees per task, and sometimes tips from families begging for a swift, clean death instead of a slow one. Money isn't your problem. Loneliness is. At 22, you fall for a girl in town, a baker's daughter. She likes you. Maybe she even loves you. But her father finds out what you are, and the conversation ends before it begins. You already knew how this would go. Executioners marry executioners' daughters. That's not romance. That's the only door left open. You marry a woman from another executioner family 3 towns over. You've never met before the wedding day. It doesn't matter. Neither of you had other options. You're learning your third lesson. Some prisons don't have bars. Time moves forward. At 25, your job expands. Executions alone don't fill a calendar. You're called in for torture sessions too, extracting confessions with thumbscrews, the rack, branding irons. The court needs answers. You provide the instruments. Some of the accused are guilty. Some aren't. It's not your job to decide. It's your job to make them talk. You tell yourself this is just work. Some nights, you almost believe it. At 27, a botched execution nearly cost you everything. A nobleman convicted of murder, high profile, big crowd. Your sword catches wrong. It takes 3 strikes instead of 1. The crowd turns from spectators into a mob in seconds. Stones fly. Someone grabs your collar. For one terrifying moment, you understand that the same crowd that cheers your skill will kill you for your mistakes. Guards pull you out before it gets worse. The court fines you, strips a month of wages. You're lucky. Some executioners in other towns weren't. You're learning your 4th lesson. The crowd doesn't love you. They love the show. The moment the show goes wrong, you're the villain. At 30, The town faces an outbreak of plague. Doctors are scarce. Trained surgeons scarcer still. But you know anatomy. Years of cutting, executing, and torturing taught you exactly where bones break and where blood vessels run. A desperate physician asks for your help with an amputation. You hesitate. Then you agree. It's strange, holding a blade to save a life instead of end one. You start helping more. Setting bones. Draining wounds. The same hands that swing the sword in the square now stitch wounds in back rooms. Paid quietly, off the books, because no respectable doctor wants to be seen accepting help from you in public. You're learning your 5th lesson. The line between healer and killer is thinner than anyone in town wants to admit. At 35, your son is born. You watch him sleep and feel something twist in your chest. You know exactly what future waits for him. The same training, the same hood, the same sword passed from your hands to his. You consider, just for a moment, refusing to teach him, letting the family trade die with you. But executioner families don't get to walk away quietly. The town needs someone in this role, and if it's not your blood, it'll be someone else's. Someone who might be worse at it, who might turn one clean strike into 5. So when your son turns 14, you hand him a sword, point to a dog tied to a post. History repeats itself with horrifying precision. At 40, you've executed over 100 people. You've broken bones on the rack more times than you can count. You've also set dozens of broken bones the legal way, delivered babies when midwives couldn't reach a village in time, and treated wounds nobles wouldn't dare get from anyone, respectable. You are simultaneously the most feared man in town, and secretly one of the few people who might save your neighbor's life in an emergency. Nobody thanks you for either. At 50, your joints ache. Your hands, steady for decades, start to tremble slightly in the cold mornings. The court starts whispering about retirement, not out of kindness, out of practicality. A trembling hand means a botched execution. A botched execution means a riot. Your son takes over more duties. You watch from the edge of the square as he raises the sword for the first time alone. Your stomach twists, the same way it did the day you killed that dog as a boy. He doesn't miss. You feel something close to pride, something close to grief. They're harder to tell apart than you expected. At 60, you retire fully. You're one of the few executioners in the region's history to die of old age rather than violence, disease, or a mob's fury. You spend your final years in the same house on the edge of town, still avoided by neighbors, still unwelcome at the tavern, still buried, when the day finally comes, in a separate corner of the cemetery, reserved for people like you. No one mourns publicly, but quietly, in back rooms across town, people you stitched up, bones you set, babies you helped deliver, they remember a different version of you than the one the crowd cheered for in the square. You were never just an executioner. You were the most necessary person nobody wanted to know. So you survived one of history's loneliest professions. But don't get comfortable. Click the next video and discover your life as a plague doctor, where the mask doesn't protect you from the disease. It just makes sure nobody recognizes your face when you fail to save them.